All righty, folks. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, October 24th. We are holding a study session for today. And the topic of our study session is regarding the Palm Springs International Airport Museum. Can we have a call to order and roll call, please?
And Madam Mayor, the record will reflect all council members are present.
As mentioned, the study session topic is update on the Palm Springs International Airport Master Plan. Who will be presenting today?
Well, good afternoon. I'm Mark Wire. I'm the stakeholder lead for the Airport Master Plan. Joining with me is one of your commissioners. This is the commissioner who represents Palm Desert on the airport.
Hi there, good to see everyone again. I'm Kevin. If you don't remember, I know it's been a short little while since I've come by. So we're delighted to have a team from the airport here to tell you about what's going on with the master planning process and the vision for the airport's future. So with that, I'll leave it off to Mark.
Great. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you so much for your dedication to the Airport Commission. Joining with me today is Jake Ingracia. He's a full-time employee at the airport, and together we're going to be doing this update on the Airport Master Plan, and we welcome questions at the end.
Good to see you again, Jake.
Good to see you.
Okay, so what is an Airport Master Plan? Well, it's a federally required document to help plan strategically for the future. This is only a plan. Each individual component of the plan still has to go through an EIR process, a design process, and a funding process. So why do we need an Airport Master Plan? Well, Palm Springs International was built to accommodate 1.5 million annual passengers. And today, we're well beyond 3 million annual passengers. So we need to plan strategically for that growth. We want to preserve iconic elements of the airport, like the Wexler Terminal. We want to create a better passenger experience. The last thing we want is to have a situation where we don't have enough gates for the planes that are landing. And then you're waiting on the tarmac for a gate to open up. That's not the passenger experience that we want at Palm Springs International, and that's not the tourist experience that we want for everyone visiting the Coachella Valley. We also want to comply with the latest airport safety requirements and begin new sustainability initiatives. So this Airport Master Plan delivers really the flexibility that we need. Currently, PSP does not have a Customs and Border Patrol. Our plan is to have this as part of our overall master plan and develop that. That will allow us to finally accept flights from Mexico, Canada, and potentially even Europe. Right now, planes that do come from Canada, they have their own processing at those facilities, and then they come through just like a domestic traveler would through PSP. We also want to increase baggage claim and the capacity of our baggage claim. Currently, wait times have been increasing during peak times. We want that passenger experience to be quick and efficient, and we would go from 3 carousels to 6. We also need to increase the space in our terminals to allow for more breathing room, more seats for people to sit in, more outlets for people to plug in, and of course, improve the overall rent-a-car experience. Rent-a-cars currently are decentralized all over airport property. We plan to centralize them. That way it's quicker, more efficient, and less traffic around the airport for rent-a-cars going to and from the rent-a-car location. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jake to take us through the next several slides.
Thank you and good afternoon. So you might be wondering, why do we need a master plan and why is all of this necessary? Well, I don't have to tell you, we have seen a huge burgeoning of popularity here in the Coachella Valley as a whole. And especially at the airport, we've seen incredible growth coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. The last 2 years, 2023 and 2022, were consecutive record-breaking years as far as passenger totals at the airport. 2023, we saw over 3.2 million passengers, more than double that 1.5 million that the airport was built to accommodate. Just looking at the next couple of years, 2027, we're projected to see more than 4 million passengers. And by 2042, the end of this 20-year master plan period, we're expected to double what we are at today at over 6.4 million passengers. And so it's incredibly important that we plan for this projected growth today to make sure that we're able to ultimately accommodate for it. But it's not just growth at the airport that's happening. We're seeing it throughout the valley in both tourism and residential communities as well. Between 2017 and 2022, we saw a 4% increase in tourism, and we're seeing thousands of houses going up right here in Palm Desert, for instance, and across the Coachella Valley as a whole, seeing a 5% increase between 2021 and 2024, outpacing both California and the United States. And we know how important tourism is as an economy here in the Coachella Valley. 1 in 4 jobs locally are supported by tourism, resulting in a $9 billion economic impact to our community. And so as tourism continues to grow here, we want to make sure that the airport, the gateway to our destination, is able to support that. All of this results in operational impact to the airport. We're seeing a limited footprint there at the airport as we run out of places to put passengers. We're seeing larger crowds come through, people looking for places to sit while they're waiting for their flights, longer wait times at security during peak times, and when people come out of the airport, longer waits to get their bag or a rental car. And so just looking at parking right now, our projections show that the parking demand is expected to double what we're able to supply by the end of this master plan period by 2042. So where are we in the master plan process? Well, we've been at it now for roughly a year, and there are essentially 4 phases. First, pre-planning. Second, investigation. Third, solutions. And fourth, implementation. So today we're currently roughly between phase 2 and 3, conducting a lot of public outreach. This is one of dozens of these presentations we've been doing up and down the Coachella Valley for city councils throughout the 9 Valley cities, as well as Rotary clubs, HOAs, community groups. Anybody who's interested, we want to share this information with them and be sure that we're involving them in the process to be able to get that feedback. So as we look for those solutions, we're able to incorporate them, all of that community feedback, into the implementation phase. What we've heard so far as we've been going through this master plan process may not surprise us. We know that people love how quaint the airport is. They love that charm. They love that indoor-outdoor feel when you walk through security and back out into the courtyard. We hear it all the time, that it's not like an airport, but rather more like a park. And people love that about Palm Springs International. So that's definitely an aspect that we hope to maintain as we go through this master planning process. People love how easy it is to use the airport. You can pull right up to the curb for your flight, hop through security, and be at your gate in just a number of minutes. And on the flip side, when you arrive at Palm Springs, you can get through the exit lane to the 2 baggage claim and straight to your rental car in just a couple of minutes. So it's a really easy, user-friendly airport, and that's definitely something we want to be able to maintain. On the flip side, though, we have heard those negative impacts as well. We're hearing about those long security lines at peak times. In the height of season, in the middle of the day, you could wait in security line for over 35 minutes, say. And it doesn't sound like a long time, but it's not what people are used to here at Palm Springs International Airport. So we really want to be able to maintain that ease of use. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Mark.
Okay, so I'm going to walk through the 2 alternatives that the commission has considered, and they've recommended one to Palm Springs City Council for consideration and further study. So alternative 1 is the north site rent-a-car location. The difference between the 2 is essentially where the rent-a-car location would sit. This alternative here is what the commission looked at last week and made a recommendation to the Palm Springs City Council for further study and consideration. So this location here it preserves the walkability of the current rent-a-car experience that we have today. So you'd walk outside the terminal, you grab your checked bag if you have a checked bag, and you'd be able to access the rent-a-car center there, all within walking distance. This is a 5-level structure that's being proposed. 2 would be underground, 2 would be above ground, with the 5th level would be rooftop parking. So it's essentially 2.5 stories. What we've heard from stakeholders about this location has been it encroaches too closely to the Wexler terminal, and to City Hall, and it also potentially blocks mountain views. I'm going to show you some additional renderings of what this looks like at different viewpoints here. This here is a viewpoint when you leave the Wexler Terminal looking to the north. That the light gray facility there, that is the 2 levels of the parking structure with the rooftop parking. This is only a design concept. This is not the final design. That comes much later in the process. This is just a master planning process. This image was created just to show what the view would look like with that facility at that location. Alternative 2 is the south site rental car location. This would have a change in the passenger experience at PSP in that it would require busing to get to and from the facility. This is a 5-level parking structure, 4 levels above ground, with the 5th level would be the rooftop parking. As I mentioned, the busing would occur 365 days a year, 20 hours a day. Electric buses would be in operation. It's about a 4 to 5 minute run from the terminal over to the rent-a-car center location there. This also opens up additional kind of curbside space in front of the airport. And this was not recommended for further study and not recommended to the City Council for their consideration. Alternative 1 is that recommendation. So in terms of phasing this project, phase 1 would incorporate the North Concourse construction as well as the rent-a-car center location. That total construction cost of both those components is right around $880 million. The schedule on something like this looks as follows. So in 2025, we'll start the EIR process, work through a design process, and then finally start construction and complete it in mid to late 2029. Phase 2 of this would be to build out the South Concourse section for a total project budget of a little over $2 billion. This would be the largest capital investment project in the Coachella Valley. Sustainability is at the heart of the master plan. We plan to have drought-tolerant landscaping, have more solar panels, more electric car charging facilities. We're looking at taxiway and going to implement taxiway improvements to make the planes get access more quickly to the terminal to reduce emissions. Also, speaking about airplanes and reducing emissions, I want to mention that mitigating airplane noise has been something that has come up. So I want to make sure that the audience is well aware that just because the anticipated number of passengers is expected to double at Palm Springs Airport does not mean that means the number of planes are going to double. That's because planes are getting bigger, they're getting more efficient, and they're getting more quiet. This isn't just a concern that we have in the Coachella Valley. This is something that is really global. Everyone wants planes to be quieter, and so this has been a goal of the airplane manufacturing industry to create planes that are more efficient and quieter to make sure that they're listening to the people around them. I also want to mention that that there's a federal law that we have to abide by. That's the Airport Noise and Capacity Act of 1990. This prevents all U.S. airports from imposing restrictions on flights, schedules, and the number of flights or noise limits. You may hear about airports in Orange County or in Long Beach that have restrictions. Those were all done well before this law was put into place. It was essentially the catalyst for this law here. So we have to abide by that. But if there's anyone watching or anyone concerned about airplane noise, we have a lot of various channels for people to complain and voice their concern about what they're hearing. You can voice your concern by those 4 options there. We have a noise committee. There's the FAA, of course. We have a forum online. And of course, there's other airports within the area. So if you hear noise from them, you can always contact them through their website as well. So how is all this funded? Well, Palm Springs International is its own self-containing funding entity. So Palm Springs does not use any local taxes to do this project. All the concession fees, all of the parking fees, rent-a-car fees, landing fees, that's the funding mechanism to pay for this. So again, the airport does not rely on any local taxes to operate. I just want to end the master plan section just by saying for anyone that wants to submit a public comment or anyone listening online, to do so through Palm Springs Airport Masterplan.com. That is where all the public comments are being submitted. I'm going to turn it over to Jake to talk about an open house that we're going to have in early November for the master plan, and to kind of wrap up with some exciting news on what's happening currently at the airport. Jake?
Thank you. So in addition to these outreach presentations that we've been doing, we're also holding an open house kind of presentation and question and answer with not just our team, but the experts behind the master plan, the people who are actually designing this and creating these ideas. And so that's the public's opportunity to ask their questions and get them answered with the experts themselves. That's going to be November 7th. It's a Thursday at 5:30 p.m. at the Palm Springs Pavilion at Sunrise Park. And we hope to see everyone there. That is the final one of those sessions that we'll be holding before this will ultimately go to Palm Springs City Council for a decision.
Can you repeat the date and time of that, please?
Yes, that's November 7th at 5:30 p.m. at the Palm Springs Pavilion at Sunrise Park. We just want to wrap up with a couple of exciting announcements ahead of this upcoming season. We have actually this coming season the most air service that PSP has ever offered before, including several new nonstops and 2 new airlines. You may have heard some of these announcements in the last couple of weeks, but Frontier is returning to PSP, which is very exciting for people looking for a more affordable price point from our airport. They're bringing in 2 nonstops from to and from San Francisco and Denver, and this will be a year-round route, which is really exciting for us, year-round service, so even available during the summer months. Delta is coming in this season with a nonstop to JFK. It is our second nonstop to JFK, in addition to Alaska Airlines, which launched daily nonstop service last season. United bringing in Washington Dulles, daily nonstop there, and a great opportunity for international connections to that airport. And we've also got Porter Airlines coming in with a nonstop to Toronto for the first time, welcoming in that airline. So very excited about our new airline and routes that are coming in. But we also want to tell you about some new concessions that you might see today at the airport. If you've flown through in the last year, you may have noticed some of our construction projects that have been underway. This is a major concessions refresh that ultimately by early 2025 will bring in 7 new restaurants and 5 new storefronts. And so right now you're looking at the Cactus to Clouds Bar and Kitchen. It's up in the Sonny Bono concourse, up at the top of the escalator there. And this was actually unused space prior to this. It was a fountain area. You might remember some palm trees and some art. And so we were able to take this space, put in this bar, which is crafted after the mid-century modern design that Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley are known for, with that colorful flair. And it has a capacity of up to 70 people, which is huge for us to be able to accommodate more people during season for a place to grab a bite to eat or a drink before their flight. Nine Cities Craft is down at the Agua Caliente concourse. And you can see that it is also in that colorful mid-century modern vibe that the Valley is known for. Its name comes from the 9 cities of the Coachella Valley. And so that's kind of the theme of this whole concessions project, was to bring what makes the Coachella Valley so unique within the airport's walls. So you're really getting that experience from the moment you take off or the moment that you land. These 2 here are renderings, but they're actually open today. Las Casuelas Terraza and Coachella Valley Coffee are 2 beloved local businesses that we are so excited to bring into the airport. Las Casuelas has been serving authentic Mexican cuisine from downtown Palm Springs for the last 4 generations. And Coachella Valley Coffee, right here, another Valley business, locally brewed coffee beans as well. So we're super excited to be bringing these local businesses into the airport and getting that local Coachella Valley experience. On the retail side of things, Hey Joshua is a souvenir and gift shop with kind of unique items that you can buy from the high desert. PSP is the closest airport to Joshua Tree National Park, and so we wanted to see that represented in the airport. And they're selling locally sourced products from up there in the high desert. On the top right, you see Las Palmas Oasis selling resort wear and golf attire and different things that you might see out on the golf course here. And so that's really exciting. You're looking at some of the fashion from Trina Turk, a local designer. In Motion is your go-to tech hub selling headphones and chargers, something you might need before your flight. And on the bottom right there, Uptown Essentials sells locally sourced products from brands like Destination PSP. Last but not least, we just want to close out with some exciting sustainability news for the airport. The FAA granting us a $500,000 grant for zero emissions vehicles. So this will be used to replace 8 of our gas-powered airport vehicles, the pickup trucks that airport operations staff drives around in, with zero emissions electric cars, furthering the airport's commitment to sustainability. And so with that, we'd like to open it up for any questions.
Any questions? Yes, please.
Thank you for the thorough presentation. It was very, very good. Appreciate it. Couple questions. The Palm Springs Airport is a Class 1 historical site. Is that right? Does that limit viewscapes and what you can do with that parking garage? Because I believe City Hall is also a Class 1, which again, so is that parking garage going to be a concern? That was approved, the north parking garage.
So the actual structure is a is designated historic. So, putting a facility near it in that location, that is okay. We can do that. We can't go and change the Wexler terminal, for example.
Got it. So the Class 1 doesn't affect viewscapes between,
Correct.
okay. Got it. The other question,
I think I'd add as well, that location has the Bob Hope USO there at the moment, and that's 2 stories tall. So you're just building a little bit higher.
oh, got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. The other, one of the charts, the first graph you showed, 4% growth in visitorship between 2017 and 2022 total. So roughly 1% per year in visitorship. And then between 22 and 27, it showed almost a 33% jump in airport usage. So that to me, it just didn't quite reconcile that you would have essentially 1% a year the last 5 years, and now all of a sudden almost 8 or 9% per year. Does that make sense? Or
Those numbers were Coachella Valley numbers versus just airport growth.
okay. Oh, the 2017 to 22 number was overall Coachella Valley visitorship.
Correct. That was from Greater Palm Springs Tourism. Those were their numbers.
Okay, so it could be drive-in, could be anything.
Correct.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay, and just a curiosity, how many people use, or you might not even have these or keep track of this. Any idea what percentage of usership comes from layovers and what percentage, because I'm just wondering how many people actually spend time there, and this is just out of curiosity, and how many people just use it to come and go?
I don't have the exact number on that, but I can tell you that it's mostly an airport where people do not transfer.
Right, okay.
That's even like LAX, there's very few transfers there. It's mainly, in places like Phoenix and in Atlanta.
Got it. Perfect. Well, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody knows that Coachella Valley is a destination. Where else would they want to go? So I have a couple questions also. Can we go back and look at when you were showing the number 1 plan that you're recommending? Can we see that again? And I did want to ask, you mentioned the USO. Where will the USO go?
It would be included in the new facility.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm trying to see, oh, that's Talkwitz. Okay, I see where the city hall is. I don't really see that as an issue for visitors coming in and out if they can or cannot see the city hall from the airport. I don't think that would be anything that would change their travel plans. So I think it looks it looks great, and I'm excited. I know the Wexler issue was talked about it at Visit Greater Palm Springs at length, and it was really important to find a way to accommodate the Wexler, not touch it, and find a way to accommodate the rental car. And it looks like you've done a great job. I don't think, as you showed us, it didn't seemed to me that it was really blocking views. It wasn't an obstruction, it's an asset to the entire experience. Yeah, I mean, I don't see that as being an issue. Have you been, you mentioned $880 million, am I right? And I know once you go subterranean, as you go down building, your prices go up. Have you been accruing funds and putting them away in the budget? As you said, you know, all these things that generate revenue that are strictly to be used in the airport. Do you now have a nice pot to go towards the beginning of this effort?
Yes, the airport has been working on that and collecting funds in anticipation of this. There still is a process ahead, though. So there has to still go through an EAR process, design process, and
Right.
funding in order to actually get this thing built. So there's a lot more steps ahead.
I do want to share with you that every time I go through there, I'm amazed at how kind everybody is. They move you along. They have a nice word for you as you go through. It's always a pleasure to go through Palm Springs Airport, so thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one question for you. Very last slide here. Why not thermal? I know that's a big question in the community. And as we talk about increase in population in that part of the Coachella Valley, the people that are taking $500 helicopter rides from Santa Barbara to avoid the Coachella Music Festival traffic, why don't we have a thermal option, just so it's on the record for those that are watching?
So yeah, so it's a great question. So thermal is owned by Riverside County, and that would have to have its own separate funding stream, probably a tax, maybe countywide, in order to actually fund it. It probably would cost between $4 to $6 billion to actually build out a terminal. You have to have an air traffic control tower, plus the runway length is only 7,500 feet length. Palm Springs International is 10,000. So we already have the facilities in place and the runway length in place to accept aircraft. And so you're just talking about where the funding streams are. We currently have that at Palm Springs, at PSP. We also have a airport code and a reputation. When you're searching for Palm Springs in the Coachella Valley, it easily comes up as top of mind. Trying to find where thermal is going to be quite a challenge. So we also have the name recognition really to our advantage.
I'll just make a comment. This is very exciting. Thank you for coming to our city council to present. And I'm happy that the Palm Springs City Council is leaning towards this option A that we're looking at on the screen, because, and the Greater Palm Springs Convention and Tourism, they've done such a fabulous job of getting more flights here to Palm Springs. I mean, hats off to them as well. I'm sure you're working with them on a regular basis, and all these direct flights. It's lifting up all 9 cities, increasing the revenues for all our cities, and increasing our quality of life for all our residents. So thank you. You guys are doing a great job.
Any comments or questions, Councilmember Kelly? I thank you very much for your time, for your information, great presentation, and we look forward to what's coming up. And thank you for your service and being our
Yes, thank
liaison
you.
to the Airport Commission. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks again for the city to allow us to have this forum to speak with you all.
Thank you.